Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Sunday. This is Devils After Dark, coming to you live from the Primetime Radio studios inside the bunker in an undisclosed location in beautiful New Jersey. And cross continent to Beverly Hills, California, it's Scotty of Sirius XM Liquid Metal, coming to you live from the Michael J. Fox studios. Streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, X Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network as the Devils beat the Flyers 3-1 tonight in the arena formerly known as the FU Center in Philadelphia, in South Philly. Lots to talk about. Because I feel like I'm schizophrenic right now. I hate this team, but I love this team. I hate this team, but I love this team.
Okay. I don't know if that's actually schizophrenic, but, either way, I get what you're saying over here.
Or is it manic? I don't even know.
Yeah, I think that would be more.
All right. Well, I'm not. I'm no psychiatrist. But really,
I'm no psychiatrist over here. All right, I don't do all that with the fancy and the the thinking and the mental health. I'm not about it. No, thank you.
Yeah, well, we're 1-0 since that interview with David Blitzer. That's all I know. We had something to do with this team. Because ownership group probably said something after that interview with David Blitzer, the managing partner of the New Jersey
I would
Devils.
assume so. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, well, welcome Sam Woo and welcome everyone on YouTube and Facebook and X to another rip-roaring edition here of the Devils After Dark show on the Let's Go Devils podcast network. I'm talking about an actual Devils W. They don't happen very frequently as of late, but the Devils do get the win over an ailing and, faltering Philadelphia Flyers team, and they hold on to win. And could it be we have a goal whisperer now on the team? I think we might. There might be a goal whisperer. Like Cesar Millan, he's the dog whisperer or the pet whisperer. What was his show called? I am the pet whisperer.
I think that's what it was called.
The dog whisperer, something like that. Remember, you ever see that South Park where they Mrs. Cartman brings him in to train Eric and stuff like that? And he just I am the dog whisperer. So maybe we have a goal whisperer in the form of Mr. Cody Glass. Yeah. Coming in and, factoring in on both Devils goals this afternoon. We had some new faces out there. Dumoulin, who we already saw, but Sprong, Cholowski, is that how you say his name? And Cody Glass getting in there. And it is Cody who scores in his Devils debut in the first period at 11:10, just about halfway through, puts the Devs up 1-0 down there in Philadelphia. And it's Luke Hughes passing over to Stefan Nason down low, and then Steph kind of like from a sharp angle tries to throw it on net, and we get a fortuitous bounce to the goal whisperer, Cody Glass, who is not, Samuel L. Jackson. He's not Mr. Glass. Hopefully he doesn't break like Mr. Glass, because apparently we need him in the lineup because he's a goal whisperer. Cody Glass takes the fortuitous bounce, rebound, and puts it home past the goaltender in the back of the net to give the Devils a 1-0 lead. And then in the second, it's an Eric Halla sighting. Stop me. Stop me from something. I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought there because I got so distracted in the fact that Eric Halla scored a goal. Are you kidding me? For the whopping 6th time this season. Holla! And this one again gets a little help from the defense. Although, wait a minute, they still have this as a Brendan Dillon and Kovacevic assist here on the NHL app. I do believe that Cody Glass. Okay, so Dillon gets it over to Kovacevic, who's able to move kind of into the high center slot area along the blue line, and he's putting a shot towards the net there. And I could have swore I saw on the replay that they were showing that Cody Glass kind of does a little spinneroonie, smacks the puck with a stick, but that he actually did make contact before it kind of goes down to Eric Halla, who's on the side of the net, and actually puts it into the back of the net. So this might get changed at some point. I'm surprised it hasn't yet already, or maybe I missaw that replay. Maybe Cody Glass missed it, but it did look like his stick came in contact with it after Kovacevic. So either way, Eric Halla scores a goal. Kovacevic gets his 15th assist. Brendan Dillon, you son of a bitch, gets his 11th on the year at 5:39 of the second period. Not too long after that, our boy Luke, you underestimate my power, rang one off the post. Devils had 2 posts in the second period. They move into the third, and they're hanging on to this 2-0 lead, but Drysdale does get the Flyers on the board pretty late in the game at 15-14 of the third period. Looks like Jake Allen was kind of guessing glove hand high, and Drysdale went low blocker. So it was almost like one of those soccer, penalty kick situations here where the goalie was just purely guessing. But it was a nice shot by Drysdale. Can't take that away from him. And he fooled old Jake the Snake. So it happens. Flyers now 2-1, and now again, something we've harped on for quite some time here. The Devils not having that finish. Now that the Flyers scored but 1 goal, they are right back in this game, and it makes for an extremely tense, final 5 minutes or so of this game. So of course you're always hoping that the Devils can maybe, get that third one a little earlier, and put the nail in the coffin on some of these teams so they don't have to come down to the wire and be in a very, precarious situation of trying to defend a game where they were, rightfully in control of through the majority. So, it helps out that was it Konechny took that penalty, or Sanheim. I'm sorry, Sanheim take the penalty against Brett Pesce there with about a buck and a half to go in the third period. Just a bad cross-check penalty right to it looked like about the hip of Brett Pesce, which of course gets called. The Flyers try to pull the goaltender there to even it up 5-on-5, and Dawson Mercer actually hits the net. What is this, 2 games in a row? Are you kidding me? With the ENG empty net goal to finally seal the deal. Devils get a much, much, much needed victory for their playoff chances, which is starting. I don't know. I feel like the Devils, the playoff meter is turning into Scott Steiner, and the Devils are turning into Samoa Joe, challenging him at sacrifice. And if you know about the Steiner math, Samoa Joe didn't have a good chance of beating Scott Steiner at sacrifice. I think when it all came down to it, it was an 8 3/4% chance of beating Scott Steiner at sacrifice. So the Devils need to get out of that Samoa Joe territory and keep these W's going, because they don't have an easy schedule, but everybody's creeping up on them. And this Tuesday is going to be a massive, massive game with the Columbus Blue Jackets, who are only 4 points behind, but have 2 games in hand. The Senators, had a great win over those Rangers with Brady Tkachuk scoring an OT yesterday. They're up there. The Rangers are not that far behind. I think they have 67 points, also with games in hand. So the Devils, they don't have it easy here. Their only benefit is the Rangers probably have the hardest schedule out of anyone, in the playoff push remaining. but still, it's better to win your way in than to see others, lose, and that's how you get into the playoffs. So let's hope that, Dumoulin and Sprong and Glass can, kind of jumpstart this team a little bit. I didn't like Paul Cotter getting scratched, but I guess it is what it is. I know Sheldon Keefe has harped on some things of his defensive play and his all-around game and everything like that, but I'd rather see Paul Cotter in the lineup. But that's neither here nor there. As this season has gone on, I don't know if I'm the only one who's been questioning some of the decisions Sheldon Keefe made, but today, hey, it resulted in a W. Like we said, a much needed W against a Flyers team who we said is just going downhill. And if they didn't win today, then ooh boy, there would have been some trouble. So the Devils pull it out. They're now up to 74 points on the year. Let's go through shots on goal. 5-11-7 for a total of 23. The Flyers 8-5-11 for a total of 24. The Devils are out hit 28-21. Devils 1 for 1 on that power play. The Flyers were 0 for 1. Devils dominated in the faceoff circle. 25 wins to the Flyers 19, but 25 giveaways for the New Jersey Devils. That's a trend that we have seen go on this entire season. And yeah, Jake Allen loses out on another shutout for him. That would have been nice, but either way, we get the victory. So now with 65 games played, the Devils have 74 points, 34 wins on the season, which does give them a little bit of cushion. Actually, it really doesn't, because Ottawa's got 62 games played, so they have 3 games in hand. They got 69 points. The Blue Jackets also 3 games in hand with 68 points. And the Rangers have 2 games in hand, also with 68 points now. The Devils do have they have the advantage in the victory column, but again, Ottawa and Columbus could overtake them. Ottawa, Columbus can't, because they only have 30 wins on the season. And then Detroit's not that far behind either, in Montreal, but the 3 that I would be looking at is Ottawa, Columbus, and the New York Rangers. Possibly Detroit, but we'll see if they can really just kind of get a winning streak going there. But that's the issue is, if Columbus does overtake the Devils, then it's going to be the Devils and the Rangers, and the Rangers do have those 2 games in hand on them. And man, it could be really, really testy coming down the end of the season, especially if Ottawa keeps playing the way they are. If they jump up in that wild card standing above the Devils, then it's going to come down to Devils and Rangers. So the Devils need to start piling up some W's. I know it's tough without Jumpin' Jack Flash and Dougie, who is probably going to be done for the season. And of course Siegs as well. So maybe these new guys can breathe some new life, damage plan style, into our favorite NHL hockey club. Let's hear what you have to think about it. YouTube, Facebook, X, and let's bring in the king of the football calls himself, Sam, by God, Woo, to see what's up from his perspective, from his point of view.
It was a good victory, but it's a victory that the Devils should have won this game, and they did. They should beat the Flyers. The Flyers are not really in contention of anything other than a rebuild, but they always play you hard, and they're a well-coached team. That's what we saw here today. A well-coached team that's a franchise that's in the midst of a rebuild. Last season they were overachievers. And the Devils, for the most part, they answered the bell. It was a good victory. It was a tight game for the most part. And what is that? Is that the DeLorean fired up?
Yeah, it's my idiot neighbor with his car. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You were supposed to play along, be like, yes, the DeLorean.
Oh, yeah. I'm going back in time to prevent Jack Hughes from getting injured. By the way, I didn't even realize this. Sam Woo, 2 massive games later on today. The Winnipeg Jets take on the Carolina Hurricanes. And who do you pull for here? Blue Jackets versus the Rangers.
You want both teams to lose, if possible.
Well, I think we want. I don't even know.
That's an easy question. You want the Rangers to lose because if the BJs make it in, with everything that's gone on with them, all right, But I can't stand the New York Rangers fans. I want them to suffer. So that's what I say. And on top of that, the Devils do have 2 games with the BJs left this season, which are going to be huge games. Huge games.
They do.
Right now, the Devils kind of control their own destiny at this point. So
Sort of,
but
because because the Blue Jackets have 3 games in hand. Tonight they'll be back to 2, and I guess the Rangers will be at 1 then. But yeah, I guess we're rooting for no overtime.
Yeah,
that
3-point games stink.
Yeah, no OT in that game at all. Yeah, I think I might be with you, Sam. We might have to pull for the Blue Jackets there, even though they are the closest to the Devils. Yeah.
Usually, you have to default to any team other than the Rangers.
Well, of course. Oh, and in that perspective, of course, I'm rooting for the Blue Jackets. But in me, the old math and numbers is not my strong point here. So I'm just trying to do some calculations in my head about points and everything. But yeah, I think if you can push, those teams that are kind of teetering there down even further, I think that'd probably be a better thing because Columbus looks like they are on a mission one way or another to get into the playoffs. So, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I want Devils fans to not overvaluate this team. They still have a lot of problems. Now, they have the pieces to solve their problems. And which team is going to come out on Tuesday? And that's where I think I have a big problem with. I think a lot of Devils fans have a big problem with it is the inconsistency. Yes, I know they're without Jack Hughes. I get it. But, again, Timo Meier, Dawson Mercer right now is looking a little bit better. Eric Halla, where the hell have you been in the last year and a half? Glad to see that you were listening to the post-game interview with David Blitzer, the owner, the boss's boss's boss, where he had to defend himself about the break-even point. Look, okay.
Is your autographed Eric Halla stick still waiting for you at the Prudential Center?
It actually is, and I actually talked about it with the rep, and I was like, "Yeah, it's still here." I was like, See, my problem is if I go grab it at the arena, then I gotta haul this stuff out and haul it all over the place. Yeah.
Well, if you get it, then maybe you can either display it in the background of your of yourself here, in your wonderful background, or maybe we can give it away at some point.
No, the seats that I had last game, I would have thrown it onto the ice. I was so mad that last game 6-1 lost to the WJs, the Winnipeg Jets. Max is asking, Sam, do I need to make another spreadsheet coming down the stretch? Not yet, Max. We're not at the Old Yeller stage yet of the season. So,
and thank you to Serve, Max, and Robert. I see you over here now, and Selected, all talking about that game tonight. So, yeah.
Yeah. Cody Glass, I thought that was a great pickup. I tweeted that out a couple days ago. Also, I think he's a good player for what the Devils need. Again, Fitzgerald on the NHL trade deadline didn't overwhelm us. It was very underwhelming, but he didn't mortgage any pieces either. He didn't mortgage the future with this current team, and he didn't make a big problem even bigger. He went status quo. I'm okay with that. I'm not happy that it's 2025 and we're wondering if we're going to get into the playoffs, but I'm happy that he didn't, overpay for a rental with this team. Seems like Max wants a football call somewhere, but we'll figure that out. I mean, Dougie is out.
Yeah. If you actually want a football call, I wouldn't put it on Thomas touchdowns to Tar, because I don't know if that'll be happening again for the rest of the year. So
yeah,
that wouldn't be the way to go, I don't think.
Or even Curtis McDermott, because I don't know where the heck. How come he can't be in the lineup for at least once?
Don't know. We got to ask Mr. Sheldon Keefe Richards on that one.
Now, I've got a question for you, Scotty.
Okay.
Remember the first 3 months in the season, the Devils led the league in fights.
Yep.
And then December, that time with the Marty Natchez Oscars, performance.
Timo Meyer. Yep.
Yep. The Devils didn't really have a fighting major. They had one, but Pesce didn't even drop the gloves. Remember that? Like that the one time? Yep. So I'm wondering if you're gonna start winning again, you can't play Jack Hughes type of hockey right now. You've got to play better defensively. You got to be more physical. Is that first half team going to actually show up down the stretch or maybe into the playoffs? Because I think that's what's lacking now. I did see a couple, the Devils were snarling here and there, but they weren't taking the bait for any time the Flyers want to pick a fight. But I kind of want to see the Devils start to use some of their muscle. I mean, Pesce was brought here for a reason. Dylan as well. Kovokop as well. They're still playing. Where's the beef?
I've been wondering the exact same thing, Sam Woo.
Or is it strategy like Rocky, since we're talking about Philadelphia, like Rocky, where
just get beat up for 10 rounds and then try and
he's telling Apollo Creed that it's strategy, as Mr. T or Clubber Lang is beating the crap out of him, and he's telling him it's strategy, and he's trying to wear out his opponent.
Prediction? What's your prediction for the fight tonight? Prediction? Yes, prediction. Pain.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, will the real Devils come out in April, where they're literally and figuratively going to be fighting for a playoff spot? They play much better with emotion, right now. And again, this is not going to be a finesse team. It's got to be a north-south team right now, and they've got to simplify their game. 24, 25 giveaways is not going to do it against elite teams.
Nope.
You're gonna get. I don't care how good your goaltending is that night. You're not going to win games. You're not.
And that's without Nemitz in the lineup.
Wow, that's bad. That's bad. Because if Nemitz was in the lineup, it would have been 7-3 Philadelphia. Thank God. Nothing personal against the kid. I just think the kid's he's not mature. He's not really trying. He's not paying attention, and it's costing his team the game. And you gotta, Fitzy and Sheldon Keefe, they gotta play. What have you done for me lately? They got some new players, new blood in the lineup. Hopefully, it gives a spark. You talked about Paul Cotter. Yeah, I like him in the lineup too. But you know what? I like to see accountability. I would like to see accountability with these players. And this is all towards building towards the playoffs. As of now, the Devils, if the season ended today, they would be in the playoffs. But right now, there's still plenty of hockey left. We've got over a month of hockey left. Other teams trying to catch up the Devils because they have extra games. But, again, I don't want to overvalue the Devils. There's so much work that needs to be done. You've got a big game against the BJs on Tuesday.
Huge.
You've got to come out swinging. You've got to dictate the pace. You're at home. You got one more in Columbus. But you got to take care of business, and you got to get 2 solid points against the BJs.
And not an overtime win either. Like, finish it off in regulation. Killer instinct. Finish them. Mortal Kombat style. That's what we've been talking about. We know it's been lacking, but yeah, you can't afford to give up a point like that to Columbus when you're playing against them.
Basically, when you say Mortal Kombat, you're talking about pulling the heart out and holding it up in the air. Remember that when that game got banned back in the early 90s on Sega Genesis?
The blood and everything.
Yeah.
And you had to put in the blood code and every,
Yeah,
like,
I remember. It's like, oh, we better buy the game before they take it away from us. That was remember those days? Censorship? Anyway.
Good old days.
Yeah. So, I'm happy that they won. I don't want to be a negative fan. There's still a lot of things to be negative about. But for at least one day, I'm not going to be negative. I'm going to say, okay.
Hey, we won.
Build a little confidence. Even though we beat a team that's really going nowhere this season. But you got to build a little confidence. So, okay, they're the sacrificial lamb here, the Philadelphia Flyers. We sacrifice them.
They've been old Yellard. Is that what you're saying?
No. I've been reading up on pagans and what they did, the Mayans or whatever. They had the sacrifice, whatever, to the gods. I don't know. That's what we did. That's what the Devils did today. They sacrificed the Flyers. Now, the BJs. Okay, there's, the BJs have every reason to try to get themselves into the playoffs. That story, I don't want to go there, but that story, look, everybody has a heart. I like to see the BJs succeed, but not at the Devils' expense. And
fair enough, yeah.
And I hate to be a top-tier seed having to play them in the playoffs, say the Washington Capitals. I would hate to play the BJs if I was the Washington Capitals. So, with that, but the Devils have to take care of business. They got to kind of focus here. No distractions. Nico Hischier, Jesper Bratt, these are the pillars. They're still the main guys there. They've got to step it up and shoulder the load. But Dawson Mercer is going to be the key here. He's always been the X factor. And he's starting to score right now. I know it was an empty net goal, but he's starting to pick up his game. And with Cody Glass in the lineup, I think the Devils, again, if they just focus, they're going to hang in there and get in the playoffs. But I just don't want them to get down on themselves like they did against the Winnipeg Jets. I mean, that was pathetic.
Okay.
That was pathetic.
Yeah, it seems like everyone is just finish him. That's right. Serve Mercer hit the post today. That's right. So he got the ENG at the end there, and he got the goal against Winnipeg, the one that went off a Hellebuck and in. So yeah, I mean, Dawson Mercer is, he's having the worst season of his young career. Let's hope he can go on a nice run here at the end and, try to shift things and shift some positive momentum and bring that supplemental scoring that we saw so much of earlier in the season. It seems like Dumoulin, is kind of fitting in. He's a stay-at-home defenseman there. You've seen Luke Hughes kind of being out there on the run, which is what we're going to need now with Dougie down. You need that offensive upside with, Nemitz out of the lineup. Casey got sent back down to the AHL so he can have the hopefully a playoff run for the Comets, and he can get more playing time there. So we're going to see. We're going to see what happens. But, I mean, you weren't really excited about, like Sam said, it's kind of these safe moves, no blockbusters at the trade deadline, which I am totally fine with because I don't see this team making a run to the Cup Finals this year. So don't go all out right now. So I think that was a smart move. Obviously, Washington is looking very good in the East over here, and with Toronto as well. And then you got the Stars and the Avs who have just, stockpiled up, and it's going to be a battle out there in that Western Conference, between those two teams, I would imagine. But either way, the Devils should be playing better than they are. They squandered a massive lead, and they've put themselves in this position. And it's going to be a challenge, not only for, the coaching staff to keep these guys motivated to come up with some new game plans, because we've said that for quite a long time now. The book is out on how to play the Devils and how to stop their game. Can they adjust, when they are facing playoff caliber teams? We know they can, go out there and beat the lower level teams, but can they do this against the playoff caliber teams? And Tuesday night, this is going to be their first huge test with Columbus. A team that's got all the momentum in the world. They got all the backing in the world right now because everybody is on their side to get into the playoffs with everything that, has gone on with Johnny and everything. So it's going to be a massive test for them. And don't think that Columbus doesn't feel that momentum and that energy, because they do. They're riding that wave. And we'll see how they play against the Rangers today. But if they smack the Rangers today, which I wouldn't be totally shocked if they did, they are going to be riding a huge wave for Tuesday. And the Devils have to find a way to counter that. They have to play good defense. They have to tighten up. We know the goaltending has been good, but we've also seen Markstrom the other night and Jake Allen, get hung out to dry, where the goaltenders were so insanely frustrated that it literally showed on the ice because of the lazy, lackadaisical play that started occurring, in the later parts of those games. What was it, Colorado and Winnipeg? Mm-hmm. So, the goaltending has been there all year. I don't have any problems with Markstrom and Jake Allen, and even the stint that Nico Dawes had up here. He was very impressive. I was very concerned about him because we've seen him kind of come up, have a good show, and then all of a sudden kind of, spur out. But Nico Dawes was solid in his time up here, even coming back from an injury as well.
Yeah. So
it hasn't been the goaltending. But I agree with you 100%. Oh, the Panthers too, Selecta. Thank you. That's who I was thinking of. I was like, there's someone else that I wanted to mention. But yeah, Florida as well, of course. But I think, Sam, you hit the nail on the head. They're not playing as physical as they once did. No. And I don't know why Sheldon Keefe wants to, I don't think McDermott should be in there every game. But when you're playing teams that have bigger bodies and everything like that, put him in the lineup for the love of Gordie Howe. Come on. Just get him in there so he can protect some of these players. And also, I don't know if you know this or not, Sam Woo, but when teams have fights and stuff like that, do all the team members stand up on the bench and start chirping their sticks and everything? Yeah, they do. It gets them into it. It gets them fired up. Mm-hmm. Devils haven't looked fired up in quite some time.
I will point out, though, a lot of these deadline moves, in all fairness, looks good on paper. I'm kind of interested to see how Colorado, Dallas, Florida, all these teams that beefed up, how much time of an adjustment period it is going to be in the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Just like when Carolina got Rantanen, it didn't work out. It's not automatic. Didn't. So for those that are complaining that Fitzy didn't do anything, and look, I'm not defending Fitzy. I'm just kind of indifferent on this move. You know what? It's like if it's not there, don't make the move. And I think that's what happened with Fitzy. Now, you can make the argument Fitzy should have done more sooner than just waiting at trade deadline when there was nothing there. Yeah, but you're going to have to – you want to stick to the plan here. You've got some assets. You got some pieces. The unfortunate part is I don't think Nemitz is an asset right now. I think the jury's still out on him, but right now, if you're another team and you're looking at what's happened with Shimon Nemitz, I wouldn't mortgage the future to try to get him, or send a good piece. I would want more than that. But I think his trade value has plummeted, me personally, with Nemitz. And there's a reason why the other teams weren't clawing for him when Tom Fitzgerald was trying to make a trade. I can't imagine Tom Fitzgerald holding on to him for too long,
Well, that's another thing, too, is obviously some of these guys are now blocked. You have Dylan, you son of a bitch. But he's under contract until 2027. Dougie's there for a while. Pesci's there till like 2030. Kovacevic is now there for a while. Siegenthaler is there for a while. Luke is going to get extended. So, yeah, if, you're a young Devils defensive prospect, not named Seamus Casey, I'm not sure where you feel you fit in. And I know we got that damn it, what was his name? The Russian kid who looks like he's going to be a monster. Oh, damn it. What is it? Silyev. Yeah. So, I mean, hopefully, because we've had so many defensive prospects, going back to like Hoytuk and Mohamedulin, and we've seen them, Kevin Ball, and we've seen them all kind of like come and go here. We're like, oh, this is going to be the next one. This is going to be the next one. And now Fitzy has got this defensive core, locked up for the next couple of years. And ironically, it's the only one of the prospects that is, seems to have cracked it is Luke Hughes. We thought we were going to have this really, really young blue line, and that has not been the case.
And maybe that's the reason why you got Kovacevic with that extension, because you would have figured by now that Nemitz would be somewhat of a regular right now in this stage of his career, young career, and he's not. And again, I think his knock on him is more of maturity. I think the knock on him is more of he needs to listen to his coaches and just listening to the language of Sheldon Keefe and listen to what people are saying about Nemec down in Utica. Where Utica, he did put up good numbers, but it's more than that. It's more than that, because if you're not listening to your coaches in the NHL, you're going to get exposed. And I think that's what's happening right now. And I think what Fitzgerald did with Kovacevic was more of a, kind of a Siegenthaler deal, a security blanket, safety net, assigning him long-term with maybe he did overpay a little bit possibly, but
I think he did, but also I know I said that the other day, but also I totally forgot the cap is going up, so it won't have as much of a downer effect like how we were kind of with Palat the last couple of years with where the cap is at, but next year the cap is supposed to increase a good amount, so it may not hurt the team as bad. That was my bad, not thinking about like the future years with the higher cap.
So think about now. You can't criticize Tom Fitzgerald, Kate Madigan, and the analytics people with their first round picks. You go back to 2020. Granted, it's 2020 and 2021. Maybe you can add in 2022. is during COVID years. Alexander Holtz did not work out well. Traded away. Muhammad Doolin, traded away. Dawson Mercer, not a bad pick. Not a bad pick. It had promising to be a steal, but right now, not a bad pick at 18th overall. The Luke Hughes, that's a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm.
Chase Stillman,
Gone.
Okay.
He got traded the other. Who did he go? Did he go to? Did he go to Pittsburgh? Was he in the Pittsburgh?
Yeah,
I think he was. He was part of the Pittsburgh deal. Yeah.
Yeah, with Cody Glass.
With Glass. Yeah.
You look at the Nemec thing, the second overall, when you had Shane Wright and Logan Cooley, who I wanted, ready for your third line center with Hughes, Heischer, and either one of them. That's like Malkin, Crosby, and Jordan Stahl when they went on their run back in the day, if you want to use the Pittsburgh model. Right now, jury's still out on Silyev. It's too early. I think Yegorov in the second round was probably a great pick to have that goaltender. But there's a lot of questionable, they traded for, remember, they got Nolan Foote in that one trade. It's not really panning out well right now. I mean, I would have expected Nolan Foote to be, up with the big club, but I think he might be that career AHLer. Who knows? There's still time, but it's running out. But you have to question a lot of these first-round picks that Fitzgerald, has done. Second round, when they got Seamus Casey, okay, I'll give him credit there. But all these first rounders, man, and you can make the point that maybe they should be trading these first round picks. Trading
for established players.
For established players, because it's not a guarantee right now. And I think the Luke Hughes thing was more for marketing and for Jack Hughes more than anything. Not saying that Luke's a bad player. No, Luke's a great player, but I think that's what facilitated that fourth overall. But, Tampa trades away their first round. They may draft him, but the Golden Knights trade away their first round picks. And maybe that's the model that the Devils might have to go with, because it's not really panning out. Now, you can make the argument, well, they have these assets and they're able to use them for trades, but I don't know. I mean, you did get Timo Meier. You did get Cody Glass, with some of these first-round assets that they drafted. But, it's not guaranteed. That's all I'm saying. It's not guaranteed, and, who knows? Sometimes the second-round pick is better than the first-round pick for whatever reason. Like Patrick Elias was drafted. He was drafted in the second round.
Hey, we can all look at Jesper Bratt, so,
Yeah, Jesper Bratt. Even if you want to look at, if you want to go old school, Detroit Red Wings, when they got Zetterberg and Datsuk in the third and sixth, seventh rounds, even Henrik Lundqvist was in the later rounds as well. So, again, it's a lot of these teams that have great farm systems. It's more than just drafting. You got to develop them. And right now, Utica is not, where it should be.
Yeah, and we can also look at Mackenzie Blackwood as well. We were just mentioning him. He always looked, not with it when he was playing with the Devils, bored, sometimes uninterested in the games, not paying attention, taking time off, and now he seems to be very career focused over there in Colorado. So
second round pick. pick.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at
a lot of these prospects we were always hyping up here on the shows, for the past couple of years, they're not even in the Devil system anymore, and so it's kind of odd, when we were so focused on the rebuild, and now all these players, most of them are gone.
Yeah.
Jesper Boquist, yeah, Selecta, Fabian Zetz, he's up there with Brady now in Ottawa.
Yep.
So, man,
yeah, I like Zetterlund. I thought he was a decent player. But if you want to go even further back, the Ray Shero era, if you want to go back, I mean, you can also put Lamorello there.
There's another one.
Zaka, that didn't really turn out to be much. And that's in the 2015 draft. And then the next year, Mikey McLeod, we know what happened to that, right?
Yep.
2017, Nico Heischer, but Cale Makar was there. Heiskanen was there, and, but Nico Heischer, okay, not a bad pick, first overall. But that was considered after a weak draft, but the top 10 in that draft was not bad. And then 2018, Ty Smith. Which
made a mean mistake. A mean mistake there for Jack Hughes.
But brought us the football call in John Marino when he was traded away. Now that John Marino, is now that goaltender Yegeroff, because that's when the Devils flip Marino. Obviously, Jack Hughes. Jack Hughes, first overall. That's a no-brainer under Ray Shero. But 2020 on, Fitzy's DNA is on all of it, and I'm not sold on his first-round drafting right now. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, and especially when he gets those like second and third picks, where he has 3 first-rounders or 2 first-rounders, and he takes like the stretch picks, like in Muhammad Dolan and Stillman. Didn't work out. Maybe that was done by design, saying, okay, I'll take a gamble on this throwaway pick, if you want to call it that, an extra pick in first round, but he matched them with trades. So, again, Cody Glass is a good player, but look, if you draft Chase Stillman, I expect at least some kind of maybe Dawson Mercer production, but he was barely even known.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that's another big part of it, too. And I think you're right, Sam, is, maybe they should, instead of, always hanging on to those first rounders, trade them for someone who is already established that can, possibly bring a better, someone who maybe they can sign long term or, be a part of the future here for the Devils. But, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head there, dude.
Or flip that first round pick for more second and third and fourth round, which the Devils have done better draft wise. I don't know. I'm just saying. All I'm saying is, look, the rebuild is freaking over. It's been 13 years. All right, the rebuild's over. Start taking some gambles here. You got to move the needle and get this team in the playoffs and at least in the second or third round this season. You can't just be happy with 5 games in the first round and then you're out. We're past that,
Well, we thought we were. I don't know. We'll see.
We only made the playoff literally twice since the Harris Sports Entertainment took over. And, we've been, I don't know, sold, I don't know. I feel like there's been a bait and switch all along where we were promised this great team. But really, they look good on paper, but we're not getting results. And we need to get this team in the playoffs. You need to have that winning mindset. You don't want a tanking mindset anymore. We're way past that.
Agreed. Well, we got another game coming up on Tuesday night. A big, massive one. I think arguably you can say the biggest game of the season to this point right here. Because this is either going to really, especially if the Blue Jackets win today, this can either, bring them within absolute striking distance, or we can kind of provide ourselves a little bit of separation from them. But it is going to be, I don't think there's any way around it. I think this Blue Jackets game is going to be the biggest one of the season on Tuesday at this point.
Yeah. Definitely. And who would ever have thought at the beginning of the season that 2 games against the BJs will be crucial in playoff positioning? I would be like, you're lying to me. But again, but the sympathy part of me is kind of like, all right, I hope you make the playoffs, but just not at our expense. And that's how I feel right now. Sorry, but I had to say it. Also, before we go, I want a big shout-out to Tori, Anthony LaPena's daughter. Big fan of the podcast. She's going to see me at a Devils game in Newark Friday, April 11th, Scotty. Little Tori, 5 years old, was watching this podcast a while back. 5 years old. I got to ask her if she's a Girl Scout.
I was going to say, be careful, Sam Woo. This might be a setup by the Girl Scouts of America, coming to get you.
Look at you with the conspiracy theories.
I mean, Tori might be working on that I Hate Sam Woo merit badge. So I would just be careful, Sam. I would just be careful.
Yeah, well, hopefully it all works out. But hello to Tori. Thank you for being a big part of our podcast and all that as I'm trying to search for that button. There we go. There we go, Scotty. I found the button. Also, And Crew Brew. Yes, And Crew Brew. The new formula version, the And Crew Brew 2.0, is on tap, finally, at American Whiskey, where we do our Game Day Live and Devils After Dark. And
she's never mind. She's not a Girl Scout. She's a karate kid. So, all right, the whooping crane kick is going to be coming at Sam Woo.
Yeah.
April 11th. Get your tickets now.
Yeah, exactly. All righty. Well, we're going to get out of here. We got the Let's Go Devils podcast Sunday edition, 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. Devils win 3-1 over